Hi guys. All right, so today's talk, what should we talk about today? I thought what would be fun is to talk about self-love. What is it really? I want to give a more enhanced version of that. All right, I want you to really understand beyond the pedicures, the manicure, and being kind to the illusion of your body, because that's not even scratching the surface of what self-love actually is. Okay? The reason I say this is because it's very simple. Today I saw a meme, and the meme said, sometimes I can't stand the way other people think. And it was asking, is this you? And the bottom line is, it can't be, because that's not self-love. You first, to understand self-love in its entirety, the way that it's designed by God, you would first have to understand what self is. And it's certainly not the illusion of your body. That is a partial conception of what you think it is, right? A very small, partial conception of what the self is. You see, the image from which all of mankind is made in. Okay? All of mankind. What is this saying? Let us make mankind in our image. What is the image? Because that image actually determines what the self is. Okay? So the image that we're referring to, and that which mankind is made from, is technically all of your experiences, memories, and perceptions on display in order for you to see yourself. That means if there is something external outside of you and you are seeing it specifically with your eyeballs, that's your creation. That is your self, the rest of yourself. Okay? See, God cannot be divided. You can't be divided either. So what does that actually mean? Well, that means, obviously that's not true of bodies. That's not true of the physical realm. It doesn't make sense on a physical realm because you see at least 8 billion bodies out there, or soon to be 8 billion bodies in the world. So then how is it true? Well, the only way that it's true is that it's true spiritually and mentally in heaven where everything is made. And this image that everything is made from for your specific point of perception is your experience. It is you. And I promise you, if you're looking outside of yourself, but you see it with your eyes, so not what I see with my eyes, that's for me. Okay? What you see with your eyes specifically, that's for you. That's the image. See, many times we don't understand what it is that we're looking at. I know that for a fact, because as long as we see a separation, as long as we see more than one person, as long as we don't understand that it is simply a body of experience, yours specifically, then you have no idea what you're seeing. And you have no idea what self is, and therefore are going to miss your mark because you're not loving yourself in that moment. Okay? If you have this reproach towards anything outside of you, okay? That's not the place of power. I'm not saying you have to like everything as in, what I'm saying is accept it. They're different points of perception, but they're still all you. Self-love is an acceptance of the universal design. It's an acceptance of everything that you are. It's an acceptance of understanding that you are the universe. The whole thing. The whole thing. Always. Okay? That means, and I'm using this specifically for a brief talk, right? This meme specifically. That means any time that you hold any type of dislike, any type of resentment, any type of reproach, any type of victimhood for anything outside of you, you are self-hating. And that self-hate will be mirrored back and come back to you in a lot of different forms. It's magnified. It's magnified because the universal image must give you exactly what you gave it. That is literally, this is why self-love is determining the quality of your life. I promise you this is what's going on. So if self-love is determining the quality of your life, and if you know what self is, you have a whole different way of showing up. You have a whole different understanding of the self. And it goes way beyond manicures, pedicures, and massages. Yes, it's good to be kind to your body. It's good to be kind to yourself. But if you think your body ends with you, you are incorrect. You're the whole universe. So the reason I say this is because I want you to catch yourself before you voice something out loud, and catch yourself as you're thinking something. Because if you're thinking about what you don't like about the world, in that moment, what you're doing is projecting self-hatred, and it will come back. It will come back. But here's the thing. When that person shows up and does exactly what you did by judging that as separate, you're not going to understand that they're playing the role that you needed to see, because what you projected must come out. If you remember the analogy of the mirror, if the universe is a mirror, if you frown at the mirror, it will frown back, right? There's no other way, because it must do what you do. So it's an understanding that we are the source image, and that everything that we perceive inside of ourselves is what's being reflected outside. You have a window into yourself if you understand what's outside, okay? But you cement it and you recreate it all the time in judgment. And that is the separation from God that needs to be healed, because that's determining the quality of your life. That is lack of self-love. It's when you can be comfortable in any scenario, comfortable around anyone, and you can recognize yourself in everything you see. And now, what is the self now? Your experience is on display. It's the state of being that is God. That's what we share, okay? Your experiences on display. If you can be comfortable with your experiences on display at all times, then you are not projecting self-hatred, and you are not detaching or detracting from the quality of your life, okay? But any time that you push out any type of dislike, judgment, or anything of the sort, as you judge what you see outside, you are not judging anything else but your thoughts, your experience, and missing your mark. That is not love. And as such, you will not receive it. You won't receive it. You can't have what you don't give. See, the universe is perfectly balanced. Always. Like, always. It always shows up exactly as you are. Now, here's the fun part. When you know this and you show up differently and you're on the receiving end of this, suddenly every single human being on earth has a different appearance. Because you found the kingdom. You understand that you are the light, and you can see through it, and now scripture is fulfilled in you. This is a very real occurrence. It is a very, very real thing. And until you recognize yourself as the constant, you are not known to yourself. And so the design is as such. You will experience the lack of understanding, and it will come up as forgiveness lessons for you. They can continue to get worse and worse and worse until you understand what it is that you're seeing is your creation. So again, if we're blaming, resenting, disliking anything we see with our eyes without correcting our perception inwardly first, and then we go ahead and cement in what we're seeing, we have just cemented in our own karmic box. And all the people will show up and be exactly as you are. problem with that is if you continue to do this and you don't know the difference, you're going to be on the receiving end of a lot of your lack of appreciation for you. What does that mean? Well, that means your friends are going to put you as second last. Your boyfriend or girlfriend will put you as second. They don't want to hang out with you. They don't want to be around you, right? And you're going to be like, but why? I don't understand, right? And you could get mad at that outer illusion. You could, except then you'd still be missing the mark. Because even if that person had to be the bad guy in your story for you to discover who you are, it still served you. And it still is love on display. It still is love on display. True self-love is understanding that you are everything. True self-love opens up the kingdom. You go through a gateless gate and you realize that you are the key that you've been looking for your whole life. When you search for a partner, when you're searching for this romantic connection, when you're searching for that whatever it may be, you don't realize you are the one you're looking for. And so as such, you experience the deficit outside. The only way to change that trajectory is to know what the self is and then show up differently. Okay? Next thing I want to say before I leave you guys is twofold. When we're creating our reality, this comes from my angel Naomi. When you're creating your reality and you're working on manifestation, you're told repeatedly, do not tell that story over and over and over again, right? So you do your best and you don't voice it. That's great. That's not all that it means. That's not all that it means. It also means stop repeating the story in your head and stop holding on to that space. Because remember, the mirror always gives you the reflection back. So what is in your head is what's on display outside. So you could be retelling the story 24/7 without ever voicing it. Do you understand what I just said? You could be retelling the story 1 billion times a day without ever voicing it. And you want to know what your proof is of that? Your 3D reality. It outpictured exactly as you are. Everything is your creation. We have two choices. We have one choice to know that it is ours and that the point of this game is to fall in love with ourselves and to have self-acceptance and to realize that we are the universe, therefore lack nothing, and then draw everything in, a shortcut. Or we cannot know. And then 3D does what it does with us. And we don't know whether we're coming or going, if it's up or down. We are surprised with circumstances. We have no idea what's going on. We are serving that 3D reality. If we get upset or whatever, we're just playing our part for the experience. But we have not understood what we are. We have not fallen in love with ourselves. And we have missed our mark. Okay? That's really what it boils down to. I know people don't talk about self-love this way. You know, when they talk about self-love, it's like, yeah, be kind to yourself. What a novel idea. Maybe they get that far. Maybe they tell you go get your nails done. Maybe they tell you to smile in the mirror. Whatever. Okay? That's only half the picture. Half. The rest of it is knowing that you're on display everywhere and getting real comfortable with that. Like real comfortable with that. Knowing that no matter who you talk to, and as I will say this, as therapists, you actually see this for those that aren't professional therapists, because that seems to be the majority of my clients right now. For those of you that are professional therapists, have you noticed your experience on display yet? Have you noticed that the people that you are helping represent your past life? Have you noticed that the people that you are helping could represent your current circumstances coming to you for help? Have you noticed that the only person you are helping in a therapist situation is yourself? It is another body point of perception. You may not be aware of being in that body, but I guarantee you, if you recognize that experience, that is yourself inside that other human being, where it's always true. Your spirituality and your mental nature is shared. That's why I say telepathy is easy. We all share the same brain. God, it's you. It's your thoughts, right? This is how I astral travel and go and pick out who I want to hang out with for the evening. Okay? Because there's only one place where they exist. So here's where I travel. All right? You guys have to understand, my brain is just one thing that I make do things so that it creates my world. That's a very different understanding from the brain is just something I have and somehow it makes my world. Very different. Okay? The mind and the brain are not the same thing, and the mind is in control of the brain. First, you must understand how to use it. First, you must understand what's outside of you. That's why I always say self-love is the answer, because the self is all of your experience. And you see, before you were ever born, before you were ever born, okay, you came up with a self-concept, okay? So whether your name is Krista, Maria, Sarah, or Cindy, you came up with an identity. And you planned every contingency and every experience, and you set out your whole design from top to finish so that you can have your experience. All right? Before you ever incarnated, in order for you to know yourself as an individual, okay, what God did for you is allow you to create this conception of yourself, okay? Now we insert that conception into the universal design of all experience now. That conception is like a shadow, okay? It's like a shadow. It's like a light-producing shadow, all right? Now all of your experience is on display, okay? So that when you descend into your fake meat suit and you push all your consciousness into a localized thing and you create the body and the illusion of yourself, what you see with your eyes will always be seen through the filter of your shadow and your self-conception. Your self-conception contains all of your experiences. Now, if you understand that, let us make mankind in our image, or I designed the universe so you can know yourself as the universe, then you would understand how this makes sense. So now, what you are seeing, or the reason or how you kind of get about in the universe and how to see the design, and again, I'm talking from behind the veil, okay, is to understand that all of your experiences are the only thing on display outside of you. It's the only way to know yourself as your identity, as Krista, Cindy, Maria, or whatever. Okay? And so as such, you are here to recognize yourself. And that is how you discover that you are the light of the world. It's also how you discover that you are the universe, and it's also how you can truly know yourself. When you have done that, you have successfully fallen in love with you, all of you. When you have done that, everything around you is at peace. And when you do that, the rest of the world changes with you. Till you have that peace over yourself, you cannot have control over the outer illusion. No, you're going to fight against it, right? It is the peace that transcends all understanding. But very few people get to see behind the veil unless they've died. Me, personally, I astral travel, so you could say I die all the time. And as such, I'm lucky enough to see the design. And I realized that it was very valuable to tell you guys this, because if you understand that, you might just show up differently. And as such, you change your karma. You change the way you're treated always by everyone. Because now the universe will give you what you have given it. That's my talk. Think about what I said. Think about what I'm saying. Realize it's your experience. Realize that's the shadow that creates the universe outside. Understand this. Everything, time, space, everything in the universe, from the tree to the tiniest bug, and every person inside of it, every non-person inside of it, is all your consciousness on display. Always. Your experiences. You know, I teach mirrored consciousness a lot because it's the only way to see yourself in another human being, to understand what's on display, so that you are less likely to incur karma, okay, when you know it's you. All right? The war cannot be fought if you remove yourself from the equation. Okay? So if you remove the ego's tool from the equation, you actually end up in a very different world. A world so different. You know, men and women are crazy about ya. Children are nice to ya. Dogs are nice to ya. No one irritates you. You look at everybody with wonder. You smile at the teenager who's behaving exactly like you did when you were that age. You smile at that. You just love it. But you have to feel that genuine love for your experiences, or you will not recognize yourself when you come across your own creation. Okay? That would solve all the problems in your world. It would solve every relationship issue you'll ever have. It will solve the disparity between your coworkers or anything else, because it is you who must make peace with yourself in order to understand the peace that transcends all understanding, in order to understand how you are the universe. Because I can tell you you're the universe until the cows come home, but until it is your personal experience like it is mine, you won't get what I'm saying. Totally. It's not your experience yet. But everyone is destined to discover this. Everyone is destined to figure this out. And everybody will. But in true self-love, the way God intended, you never put down your universe. Never. Okay? You don't. Because you're standing there to fix your perception so that you can see yourself in a new light and prove how you are the projector in the first place. All right? So remember this. And this is going to be a little bit harsh. Okay? But if you still have people, situations, and circumstances that you're hating on, whatever they may be, okay, you are hating yourself. No one else. Yourself. And that determines the quality of your experience. If you condemn anything outside, that determines the quality of your experience. The world, I swear on my life, is a confession of your character. Nothing else. A confession of your character. And whether you voice it or not, but you think it, whatever you see outside is you. So know this, because that's the only way to disarm the ego and to see heaven. Because heaven is real. It exists. It very much exists as your image. When you understand the design, when you truly understand the design, when you know you're the gatekeeper, and whenever a problem comes up, whatever it may be, do not get mad at the other human being. because the other human being is playing the role that you assigned, even if that person happens to be your enemy. Because they're showing you the enemy within yourself. Doesn't exist anywhere else. These are hard pills to swallow. I get it. And yet I'm telling you, if you want to see behind the design, if you want to see behind the veil, if you really want to know, if you want to understand scripture personally and be like, oh, I get it, okay? Then this is the way. This is the way to know you're it. And what you see outside is you. It's always you. If you deny it, you will experience the deficit. Can't be helped. Okay? I hope that helps in terms of self-love and gives it a whole new light. Because like I said, you know, if self-love were just about manicures and pedicures and getting a massage here and there, you know, I'd be an expert. That's not what makes me an expert on self-love. No. What makes me an expert on self-love is the fact that I've figured out scripture. I've figured out what it means. I see behind the veil. And this is everyone's destiny. Everyone. We'll all get there. We all come to the conclusion sooner or later, oh my God, I am the universe. When you do, you'll never need anything again. And you will join us in instant world. Instant world. Do you know what instant world is? Instant world is the place where all of your desires manifest instantly. Now that you have no biases, no resistance, and you understand what you are, you're not resistant to what you are, you get everything instantly, effortlessly. You don't worry about a thing. However, if you have not mastered this, the buffer of time serves you, but it is self-created to protect you from yourself and the way your mind thinks when it thought that it was looking at something other than itself. I hope that helps. Think about everything I said. You know, really take this in. This is the truth, the light, and the way. I mean this sincerely. It's true of everyone. And that's it. Hope that's helpful. And think about it. And if you have any questions or, you know, want to ask me about anything, absolutely reach out. I always welcome that. Love you.